Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's official channel, where adrenaline meets art, and where the air itself becomes a canvas for dreams. Today, we take you into a world that few truly understand, a world that soars between sky and soul, between daring adventure and poetic stillness. From skydiving to poetry, the dual life of Sheikh Hamdan isn't just a title, it's a journey into the heart of a man who lives fearlessly, both in the clouds and in the quiet corners of his heart. When most people think of Sheikh Hamdan, they see the thrill seeker, the prince who leaps from airplanes with the confidence of an eagle. But what they don't see is the poet who lands softly into verses that breathe emotion as deeply as he breathes the wind. In one life, he defies gravity, in the other, he defies silence. Both are expressions of freedom, one written in the sky, the other inked on paper. He lives where courage meets creation, proving that strength is not just about how high you fly, but how deeply you feel. Every time he stands at the edge of an aircraft, gazing at the world below, there's a calm that settles over him. That moment, before the jump, is pure poetry. The wind roars, the heart races, and then comes the leap. It is in that second that Sheikh Hamdan becomes both man and metaphor, a spirit unbound, unafraid, unrestricted. He has often said that skydiving teaches him more about faith than fear, because to fall, one must first trust the unseen. But when the parachute opens and the descent begins, another side of him awakens, the reflective soul who finds beauty in every moment of surrender. He has compared the feeling of floating back to earth to the rhythm of writing a poem. In the sky, he once wrote, "I find silence loud enough to hear my heart." For him, adventure is not an escape from emotion, it is a meeting with it. His skydives are prayers in motion, his landings, love letters to life. Away from the rush of wind and altitude, Sheikh Hamdan finds his peace in words. His poetry is a second form of flight, one that doesn't require wings or parachutes. Through verses written in Arabic and English, he captures the unseen layers of existence: love, faith, loneliness, longing. The same heart that dares to fall from the sky also dares to feel the fragility of love. His poems are not written to impress, they are written to express, to reveal the parts of him that even gravity cannot touch. In his private study, the thrill seeker becomes the philosopher. Ink replaces wind, and stillness replaces speed. His desk, cluttered with journals and calligraphy pens, becomes his cockpit, a place where emotions take off and land as words. The duality is striking. One day he's racing across the desert with hawks and horses, the next he's writing about the sound of solitude and the scent of devotion. It is this balance between energy and emotion that defines Sheikh Hamdan's remarkable life. His close friends say that his poems often begin after adventure. After a skydive, a horseback ride, or a dive into the sea, he retreats into silence and writes. Adrenaline, for him, isn't a distraction, it's inspiration. "When I push my limits," he once said, "I meet parts of myself I've never known. And when I write, I meet the soul of those parts." His verses carry the rhythm of wind, the pulse of heartbeats, and the grace of surrender. Many believe that the reason Sheikh Hamdan's words touch millions is because they come from a place of truth. His life may be royal, but his emotions are real, raw, and relatable. Whether he's describing a skydive or a heartbreak, his words carry the same honesty. "To love," he wrote in one of his poems, "is to fall without a parachute, and still believe the sky will catch you." Those lines became a reflection of his entire philosophy: to live fully, to risk deeply, and to trust life's invisible wings. In public, the world sees his courage; in private, his poetry reveals his vulnerability. Together, they paint the portrait of a man who refuses to live in halves. For Sheikh Hamdan, life is not about choosing between adventure and art, it's about merging them until both become one continuous breath. Each jump, Each poem, each heartbeat carries the same truth.
As time passed, the world began to realize that Sheikh Hamdan's life was more than a collection of moments. It was a living symphony of contrasts. Those who had the privilege of seeing him both in the sky and on the ground spoke of a rare harmony between movement and meaning. When he jumped from thousands of feet above the earth, it wasn't just an act of thrill, it was an act of trust, a physical metaphor of surrendering to life's flow. And when he sat down to write, his pen didn't just create poetry, it created flight. He turned adrenaline into art, proving that fear and freedom can coexist in the same heartbeat. He once confessed in an interview that he found peace in danger and clarity in chaos. "The sky," he said, "teaches me that control is an illusion. Poetry teaches me that surrender is strength." Those who heard those words never forgot them. They carried a truth deeper than philosophy, the idea that a person's real power lies not in holding on, but in letting go. When Sheikh Hamdan speaks, the world listens, not because he demands it, but because his voice carries the calm of experience. He has lived what others only write about, felt what others only dream to feel. In the quiet hours after his flights, he often wanders the vast desert under a blanket of stars. There, with nothing but wind and silence as company, he lets the rush of the day fade into reflection. Sometimes he writes about the stars as if they were his companions. Sometimes he writes about the sky as if it were a lover. "The night," he once wrote, "is where my words land when my parachute cannot." There's a mystical beauty in that duality. He falls from the heavens by day, and returns to them in thought by night. What few understand is that Sheikh Hamdan's courage is not about fearlessness, it's about acceptance. He accepts that life is unpredictable, that love is fragile, that even beauty fades. But he also knows that within that impermanence lies the essence of what it means to be alive. His poetry carries that wisdom in every line. One of his verses reads, "I dive not to escape life, but to remind life it cannot escape me." That one sentence captures his entire spirit, a refusal to live passively, a promise to meet existence with open arms. As the world watches his daring jumps and reads his tender lines, they begin to understand that Sheikh Hamdan's greatness lies not in power, but in paradox. He is the thunder and the whisper, the desert and the rain, the wind that rushes and the ink that stills. To know him is to know that life itself is meant